Recently, across England, we have seen protests become violent and descend into riots. However, in Plymouth, chaos descended when two opposing protests came head to head. On one side was a group of people who want stricter immigration laws and, in their words, to stop the illegal boats.
In relation to the protesters that you see out today, some waving Palestine flags, some spouting some forms of hatred, what do you believe that you're stood here for today and what you're here to defend?
I want my country back and I want the boats to stop. Because when they come over by the boat, there's no papers, don't know who they are, don't know their background. What crimes have they committed abroad to then come over here? And not being nasty, most of the murders and the immigrants, they're foreigners, and it's got to stop.
So people who say they come over here, they bolster our NHS, they give us different ethnic foods, and they give us cultural diversity that enriches the UK, what would you say to people?
That's fine. But it's when you come over here on a boat with no documentation, you get put up in a hotel where other people are struggling, like ourselves, me and my husband disabled, we both struggle, and you get put up in a hotel and you've got veterans living on the streets. And they're the ones that's causing the trouble. They're the killings. They're doing the killings. The grooming gangs, all foreign. Then no, you don't belong here. Out. If they come in through the airports with their passports and their work visas and everything else, not a problem.
So
when you come over here illegally by boat and cause all this trouble and get put up in hotels when you've got British people living on the street, they're going to say something now. I'm not racist, but how many blacks and foreigners do you see sleeping on the streets? You don't. They're all white. If there's any violence, I'm gone. I do not agree with that at all. I've got I know two business owners. One's Egyptian, one's Greek. And they are...
the runs the store?
Yeah. And I think Miles is amazing, Dina is amazing. Anybody, I'll say it now, anybody that goes near either one of those businesses tonight, you're going to have to go through them. Because I will not let that happen.
On the other was the side that believed nobody is illegal and everyone should be welcome.
What is the reason you're here today, standing with Plymouth? What are you fighting for and what are you standing for here in Plymouth?
First of all, I'm here in my capacity as the Secretary of the Plymouth NEU, and our banner kind of says it all really. We're standing up for education for people, for children, wherever they are, wherever they come from, to get the best education we can possibly provide, and we're continually engaged in funding for education and for decent pay for teachers and staff. I'm also a member of the Socialist Party, a candidate in the general election for the Trade Union and Socialist Coalition. And what I'm here particularly to say is that we don't want a race war. We don't want a war between people arguing about racists and fascists. We're here to say the real cause for all of this is the cuts in council spending on youth services, on probation services, on psychiatric on psychiatric help, the freeze on council house building that's driven a layer of desperate people into following groups who are really going to take them absolutely nowhere. And what we need is a fight fight for public services and a fight for a future for all, especially young people.
In relation to your comments, do you believe that this is a systemic issue and not a war of ideologies? Some people would like to believe that this is an Islamic problem. Some people would like to believe that this is a far right-wing problem. Some people would argue that there's concerned citizens from both sides. But from your opinion, strictly, do you believe that this is a systemic failure at government, or do you think this is something that's been boiling over for a while now?
It's a result of some 30 or, particularly since 2010, 15 years ongoing cuts in public services, particularly to local authorities. Wherever you go, whether it's the NHS, lack of cheap affordable housing, these issues have been building up and up and up, and of course people can play on that and so ludicrously blaming people coming in over in small boats rather than the failure of capitalism itself actually and its representatives in the established political parties, neither of which frankly are addressing the issues of appalling inequality, poverty. The city's got rising rates of child poverty, and yet unfortunately, although it had a mandate to do so, the Labour government has not removed the cap on two-child benefits. So that's we need we need an alternative. If we're going to end this sort of endless culture war and stuff, we need an alternative. Jobs, £15 an hour minimum wage, give people a future.
As the evening began, people gathered with their flags, signs and banners at around 5 p.m. to prepare to counter the immigration protest that was due to begin at 7.
We're going to have a rally starting around 6 o'clock. We're going to wait. We need you here. We need you together until 7 at least, just to make sure that the rendezvous that the racists organised will not take place. If there are a few straggling fascists or just a few onlookers, then you've done your job. If, however, they turn up, there are a few safety features to think about. We are not the violent ones. We are not the ones that are going to smash up people and property. We are the ones who are going to stand in numbers. We're going to stand in so many numbers that we stop them having any oxygen at all. And for that reason, in order to make sure that they have no power, the fascists have no oxygen, the racists have no one to speak to, we will chant. And there are chant sheets in case you're not sure what to say, but we will make a noise that will drown and deafen them. And that's the purpose of tonight. The purpose of tonight is a message nationally to say you may think you can burn down a refugee hostel in Rotherham, shame, but you can't do it in Plymouth. You may think that you can march and intimidate Muslims in London, but you're not going to get away with it here. We are Plymouth, and we are proud, and we are white, and we are black, and we are Muslim, and we are Christian, and we are proud of our diversity, and we value it so much we will defend it to the hilt.
At this time, it was peaceful, and everybody wanted it to stay that way. However, almost as a foreshadow for how the night would unfold, when we came over to the other side, we witnessed a 15-year-old girl being held down by 4 police officers.
Give me 2 minutes, I'll just get in the van, get them safe, and then I'll have a chat with
Oh, man, let's all walk like this. Are you taking the piss? I'm gonna fucking look like I'm flying in the air.
Make them carry you.
Scum! Scum! Scum!
Stay back though, they're throwing stuff.
Thank you, mate. We'll make sure we get to that, all right? What we've done behind, thank you. I'm cool, it's just pointing out. Again? It was just pointing quiet.
Goodbye, everybody!
At 7 p.m, when the immigrant protest started to gain in numbers, they began with chants to respond.
So I'd keep subscribing if you want more people in it. I won't turn it sideways anymore, guys, I promised.
Everything seemed to be facilitated properly until the police began to push back one side and not the other. As both sides moved across the centre, they met down the street with the facilitation of the police. Bottles, rocks, beer, and other projectiles were thrown, and words were spewed at each other from both sides.
He had his hand.
Hey, go on! Go on! Go on! Fucking have him! Come on! Come on, doggies!
He's been got nosebleeding.
Yeah, he got hit in the face there.
As someone who was there just to film, I couldn't believe the way the entire situation was being handled. As one side stood strong, allowed to throw glass bottles, beer, rocks, and water, the other was pushed back, beaten, and arrested for retaliating in like. The chants on the immigration side started to descend into angry words at the police. The whole sentiment had changed. They were victims to a two-tier policing system that the government believes does not exist. However, the clips I'm about to show you prove otherwise. As we reported knives and blades being carried by the supposed peaceful side, we were shrugged off. However, in that same moment, the very police officer we were speaking to decides to aggressively grab a kid, no older than 14, and only releases him when the camera's turned onto him. He comes up with a story that he had thrown a glass bottle, when in reality, he was just walking up the street a few feet away from where we were stood.
Some of the people here have got knives. They're screaming Allahu Akbar, waving fucking knives about. There's been reports that two of the lads up there, one in a black tracksuit, one in grey, are carrying knives.
I know.
It's not like you can do though, is there?
It really isn't. I wish I could.
I know. I'm just saying, be careful for your safety as well.
Why you didn't do nothing? You fucking idiot!
That was out of order. He is a kid. That was out of order.
That's why I just grabbed him.
Yeah, but it's still out of order. It's still out of order.
You know what he did?
No.
He threw a glass bottle.
Did he?
Yeah.
Ah.
A man running down the street with a blade, screaming Allahu Akbar, F the police, and nothing was done.
Oh my god, we have a sword. Or some sort of... Is that a blade?
Why is he screaming fuck you police, Allahu Akbar? What the fuck?
that all the police come down.
I need to film this guy.
الله أكبر أشهد لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر
Shit, move, babe, move.
However, the side with no weapons being pushed and beaten into a corner by the police. A man who is clearly throwing glass bottles trying to hurt someone. The police do nothing but push him back into the crowd.
Yeah, that's it. He's gonna get away. He's not even been nicked. He's not even been nicked.
We are poised to believe that the police are there for public safety and work in our best interests. However, the behaviour I have seen from the police strongly suggests otherwise.
Watch out, babe. Move back, move back. They're throwing. Did you just hear that conversation there? He said they're throwing stuff, why aren't you doing anything to them? We haven't got any plans to do anything to them.
The government has taken the stance that two-tier policing is not real and that the group known as the EDL, a far-right group, English Defence League, which is non-existent in today's society, is to blame. To close this video, the chaos and madness that I saw last night did not stem from the side of supposed racists and fascists.
Peaceful demonstration.
He's running with the crowd.
As the police pushed the immigration law side back and became more aggressive, they retaliated in turn, all whilst the side of peace spewed hate, brandished weapons, and screamed threats that the police turned a blind eye to. This week's video was a slightly different one, but as always, don't forget to subscribe so you are notified on next week's case, and like the video if you really did like the video. Also comment down below what your thoughts are on this, along with any other cases you would like me to look into. It could be my next one.